Here is an instructive way to improve the ability of your evaluation skills when you're calculating tactics during a chess game. So real quick, for 3 seconds, look at this position and tell me, put in the comments below if you want, who's better, white or black, and we'll do a poll here. Now, we'll get back to this at the end of the video because this is one of the games I played recently on chess.com. Anyway, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, here it comes out of the English opening, which is something you don't see too often, and I actually misplayed it. I just dropped a pawn here for some reason. I should have played probably d6 or rook e8, but I dropped the pawn. And here I just start developing, and I play this. Now, this really starts the game. So I'm enticing my opponent to take. So I take their knight. They're going to take my rook. But what's going to happen is a rook is better than a bishop. However, not having that fianchetto shadow bishop and also still having that same color, the light square bishop of my own, makes it really difficult for my opponent to defend. So basically, he takes, I take, he takes the rook, I take the bishop. And now after something like this, I don't move my bishop. I play bishop h3. Now, what am I doing? Yes, I'm threatening to take the rook, but I'm actually threatening checkmate. So my opponent here has to block, and here I move my bishop. Actually, the best move, I'm not sure why I didn't play this here, is simply just taking the rook. If they take, now I move my bishop. And if they take my bishop, I would just put my bishop here on a nice square. So I would win the exchange if I did that. I would win the exchange back. But I probably wanted to keep the bishop here. That's what I'm thinking, to eye on potential mates. And that's why I gave up the rook for bishop in the first place. So makes sense. All right. So here I reroute my bishop to aim at this potentially vulnerable square, trying to soften up the king. My opponent kind of sees this in advance. Strong players kind of have a sense and intuition of what's going on in the position, where their weak spots are. They do smell blood in the water for both sides. For them going on the attack, also they tend to see their vulnerabilities pretty clearly. So I go ahead and break open the pawn center, and now this becomes potentially weak. Again, my opponent jumps on that and defends it before it becomes a threat. I just put more pressure on it, and my opponent goes for my bishop. Now, the thing is, you don't usually want to put your knight on the side of the board unless you have a good reason to, and here this is not a good reason. So all I have to do is just simply move out of the way, bring my bishop back to a7, and now this knight, its best move in this position, white's best move is just simply to take some time out and put their knight back in the game. So it's a waste of a move most of the time putting your knight on the side of the board. Yes, there are times where you should do it, but you have to have a specific reason to do it, and usually it has to save you some type of time. Like you could take something and you're getting rid of this knight, but now just having the knight there doing nothing is a burden on your position, and you have to get it back in the game. Okay, my opponent instead takes this pawn, and now I take this pawn. So that might look like a funny move to you. I agree, it does look pretty funny, but the whole point is, and you might say, well, why don't you take with the bishop? And if I take with the bishop, that doesn't work because he can just win a piece. And if I take back here, we have queen h4, and he's attacking this bishop. And let's say I just move out of the way. I'm down material at this point. It just doesn't work, and it's not good. So a much better and much trickier way to do this is to take with the rook first. Now, you might be saying, why? Because he still takes the rook. I take back, though. And the difference is I'm pinning this rook. Not necessarily that I want to take the rook or win the exchange back, but that I'm pinning the rook. And the reason is I did this is because I figured he would play queen h4. Which is what would have worked if I took with the bishop before, but now that I took with the rook and my bishop winds up here on e3, it doesn't work. Now, why doesn't this work? And this is why you have to really work on your tactics in chess, because you'll be missing a lot of positions. Some players might even resign here for black, and they're absolutely completely winning. It's actually mate in 5, And you have to find the right move. I showed you in the beginning of the video what that move was. I showed you the position. And the move is queen takes f3. Now, queen f3 is a tough move to see, I agree. But if you're calculating in advance, you have to see that. If your opponent plays queen h4, you have to see queen f3. I know it's hard, but there's a lot of things that are hard. And there's only one way to get better, and that's by practicing your tactics. And that's going to give you, improve your board vision and your calculation ability, and also your ability to evaluate positions better. Because the more you appreciate certain positions, because you'll appreciate more positions or certain positions because of your tactical alertness. And then you'll be able to evaluate those positions easier in your head. So here I'm just threatening checkmate. So if my opponent plays a random move, that's checkmate because the rook can't take the queen. So the only move to stop checkmate here is to take the bishop. Now, here, this is very important too. Again, I showed the same mating pattern in a couple of videos already before, but if I take with the queen here, white's actually winning. I totally killed my attack. White has more pieces than me, up material, and there's no way I can actually get to the king. But that wasn't my plan. My plan was, and this is why you have to know mating patterns and tactics, is bishop takes. Now the point is, and my opponent resigned here, the point is my opponent can't go into the corner because of my queen, so it has to come there. And now simply just bishop e3. Both actually win. This actually wins just slower, but this actually wins faster because you're forcing your opponent, now he can't come here either, into the center. And now we have a mate in 2. So check, and that forces checkmate. Well, anyway, hopefully you found that video helpful. If you like that, check out this one. I'll catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.